In this next video by P.T. Barnum, the great showman, we're going to talk about advertising. This is the third and final video in this particular topic, and we'll get straight into the clip.
Some people have a peculiar genius for writing a striking advertisement, one that will arrest the attention of the reader at first sight. This fact, of course, gives the advertiser a great advantage. Sometimes a person makes themselves popular by a unique sign or a curious display in his window. Recently, I observed a swing sign extending over the sidewalk in front of a store, on which was the inscription in plain letters, "Don't read the other side." Of course I did, and so did everybody else, and I learned that the person had made all independence by first attracting the public to their business in that way, and then using their customers well afterwards. Now, I do not say that everybody should advertise, but I say if a person has goods for sale and they do not advertise them in some way, the chances are that someday the sheriff will do it for them. It is obvious they must be known in some way, else how could they be supported?
Barnum is making a number of key points about advertising. The first one is you must have a good message that communicates the value of what you have to offer. He calls them articles, products, services, to an audience. The way your advert is constructed and written and the content within it dictates whether people buy your product. That's the first thing. I think that's stating the obvious and covered before in the other videos. But then he gives an example, and that's what I want to focus on. He says he was walking down the street and he saw a sign, a board in the street, and it said, "Do not read the other side." That's all it said. And of course, he goes to read the other side. It's like saying, "Don't look at the light." You tell someone not to do something, you don't explain why, they tend to do it. He respects that. Some people would call that a trick, a trick to get you to read the message. Now, that was 150 years ago, and it makes me think of an example now. You'll have seen a trend recently of people apologizing online for their businesses. Sorry, big red letters, or we apologize. And then when you actually read the message, they're not actually sorry for something bad. They just got your attention any way they could, so you could read what it was, and things like, "We're sorry, we are so fast at delivering." That sort of thing. It's, very common at the moment. It's a trend. But the concept is exactly the same. They used a tactic to get attention before they communicated the benefit. That was more important than communicating the value of the product, because if nobody reads your message, it may as well have not existed. And that applies to websites and all forms of communication. If you invest in writing, pictures, video, and spend a lot of money and time, and no one viewed it or saw it, it may as well have not existed. That is wasted money. So that attention part of advertising is really critical. And any way you can do that works and doesn't offend people or risk brand damage is worthy of merit. Of course, Barnum closes his speech or clip on advertising with a very stark statement. He says, if you do not advertise your products and services and communicate the value to an audience of people, the sheriff will. Now that's old-fashioned language for you'll go out of business, and the receiver will then advertise your products because you've gone bankrupt. That's how important he thinks advertising is, and I'm sure he's right.